this video, we are learning about modal verbs. Modal verbs go by different names: auxiliary verbs or helping verbs, because they help the main verb in a sentence. We know that every sentence has a main verb, like Bobby swims. But if you add a modal verb to the main verb, it changes the mood of the main verb. Bobby can swim, or Bobby can't swim. Swim is the main verb, but adding the modal verb changes the meaning of the sentence. Bobby has to go to bed. Bobby doesn't have to go to bed. Go is the main verb, but the modal verb doesn't have to changes the meaning of the sentence, and it definitely changes Bobby's mood. The main verb changes form when you add a modal verb to a sentence. Let's look at the verb be as an example. The present simple tense of the verb to be changes depending on who or what the subject is. I am, she is, they are. But when you add the modal verb can to the sentence, the main verb reverts to the bare infinitive. That is, the infinitive to be without to. Let's look at the verb to swim as an example. The present simple of the verb to swim is swim for every subject except the third person singular. He, she, or it swims. When you add the modal verb can to the sentence, there is no S at the end of swim. Although I swim and I can swim appear to use the same version of the verb, the first one is a present simple, and the second, with the modal verb can, is the bare infinitive. It's always helpful to illustrate this to your students with the verb be so they can see the difference. In a sentence, the modal verb comes before the main verb. And to ask a question, simply switch the modal verb with the subject. Can she swim? We use modal verbs constantly to change the mood of the main verb, and we use them in thousands of variations to express things like obligation, possibility, and permission. To illustrate what I mean, we're going to go to Café Anglaise. Inside the cafe, there's a very moody waitress named Francine, and she uses modal verbs all day long. Francine has many skills. What modal verb would you use to express her abilities? She can pull espresso. She can work the register. She can froth milk. She can pour coffee and cut cake at the same time. Remember, pour and cut are the main verbs, but can expresses her ability to do those things. We use can to express ability. Francine is young and her future is full of possibilities. How would you express possibility in this sentence? She might work at the cafe until next summer. But wait, she may have a better idea. She could teach English and travel the world. Might, may, and could are modal verbs that express possibility. Francine's future is full of possibilities, but until she gets a job teaching English, she has obligations. How would you express obligation in this sentence? She has to be at the cafe at 6 a.m. She needs to open the doors for the customers. She really must start going to bed earlier. Have to, need to, and must express obligations. Must expresses an internal obligation, like I must quit smoking, or I must get more sleep. Whereas have to and need to express external obligations, something someone else makes you do. But Francine's life isn't so terrible. She uses modal verbs to express non-obligations in her life, things she can do, but aren't necessary. She doesn't have to wake up early on her day off. She could, if she wanted to, but why would she? She doesn't need to clean when she's off the clock. She could help her coworkers, sure, it's possible, but she's not obliged to do it. And she needn't wear her sunglasses at night, unless, of course, she wants to. Doesn't have to, doesn't need to, and needn't are modal verbs we use to express non-obligation. There are, of course, some rules for things Francine is prohibited from doing. Do you think she's allowed to wear her earbuds while she works? No, she mustn't wear them. She has to focus on the customers. She mustn't take personal calls at the cafe. Mustn't is the opposite of have to. It expresses prohibition, a rule not to do something. Francine loves to give advice to her customers. She loves to recommend her favorite drink. You should try our Kappa Frappadeltacino. If I were you, I would get the cherry muffin. Should and would are used to give advice. She also helps customers by giving them permission. You can sit at any open table. You may smoke in the back patio. Can and may are modal verbs that give permission. She also listens to her customers' requests. Can you please pass the sweetener? Could you make that latte with soy? May I borrow the restroom key? Can, could, and may are modal verbs that are used to make requests. Lastly, she loves offering things to her customers, especially the homemade cake. How would you offer someone a slice of cake? Would you like another slice? We use the modal would for a polite offer. Okay, here are your next steps. Take the short quiz below, and second, in the comments section, tell us what your last job was, and tell us something you said regularly that involved a modal verb. We'll see you in the next video.